Welcome to Meaningful Interviews with Rabbi Chaim Belf, and I'm here with Rabbi Levi Krinsky, who runs and is the head of the Chabad of New Hampshire for that entire state. And us here in Borough Park in Williamsburg, we know New Hampshire from the Satmar Hasidim, but
we do that too.
Yeah, you too. But it goes way beyond that. And the real life force is the Chabad houses, the Chabad Shluchim. So, and Rebbe Krinsky here is a son of the Rebbe's secretary, Rabbi Yehuda Krinsky, Rabbi Yehuda Krinsky, and we're talking about his father's work, the relationship with the family, with the Rebbe, and other things like that. And there were certain points that Levi wanted to clarify and to make to present better. So, whatever it is, please go ahead, take it over.
No, it's first we mentioned New Hampshire. You got to mention there are 3 active shluchim, husbands and wives, taking over the state. We're very fortunate. We have beautiful headquarters here in Manchester, where I speak to you from. We have for about 15 years Rabbi Moshe Levi Krinsky, over more than that, probably 15 years or so, at Dartmouth Ivy League School over in Hanover, New Hampshire, working, doing a great job. Beautiful building on site, on campus. We have Rabbi Beryl and Rachis Rebbetzin on the seacoast. New Hampshire has about 18 miles of seacoast between massive Massachusetts and massive Maine. There's a stretch of seacoast called Portsmouth area seacoast that the Rebbetzins are doing a phenomenal job. So we were sent here to take over New Hampshire. We're very, very much in the process of doing that, as the other shuls seem to wonder and scratch their head to say, what in the world is Chabad doing that's drawing the people and why they're not coming to them? We're focused on the Rebbe's mission. So I'm very pleased and very proud. And it's a big achayas when I came up here. Nuntes, Samach, not to be happy with and content with one Chabad house, but no, we had to go to all corners of New Hampshire. Not that New Hampshire is very big, but there's still enough Yidden that we still didn't reach.
Right.
And as I speak, we're expanding our shul, and we're building a men's and women's mikveh. We'll be ready hopefully in the next 6 or 8 weeks here in New Hampshire, Manchester.
Beautiful.
So that's a side job. But I'll tell you, my father very much brings so close to the Rebbe.
One second. I want to ask you, you know Suzanne, Professor Suzanne Heschel?
Heschel, from Dartmouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's no longer there. I don't think she's She helped us set up the shluchim there a little bit. She was in touch with me many years ago. Father was a prominent professor, to get kosher dining in Dartmouth. That actually was an opening to bring Rabbi Moshe Levi Krinsky out to that area.
Okay.
But to see what's going on, there was another topic for another day, for another interview, perhaps sometime down the road. But my father, who has a lot of nachas, I'm sure, from our work, and we talk a few times a week, is only urging me to buy the additional land, another 25 acres this way, that way, and not to be content with what we have. We have a beautiful 15,000 square foot building, men and women's mikveh, and the Shabbos hospitality suite says you got to buy the neighboring land. That's what the Rebbe would want. And that's something that I've instilled in all of us. Never be content, but be mamshech, bigger and better. But it was really not about my shlichus here in New Hampshire. It wasn't about my relationship with the other shluchim and all that. To be part of the glorious family of shluchim was about us growing up. So listen, I mean, basically, my mother passed away 12 years ago, so things were different then. But it was a beautiful home. My mother was truly the Eizer Connect for my father. He misses her. Till today, he comes home hoping she's there. But we were raised with a lot of love and a lot of support and a very warm Chassidish atmosphere. And we don't take that for granted. My siblings and us, we appreciate, and we're a very close family, by the way, which brings great pride and joy to my father, and I'm sure to my mother. Very important to any family. But they set the example for us. And of course, I think I mentioned the other time, last interview, that we're all involved with Beit HaKadosh one way or another, pretty much. Between Kahas and the camps and the work. Jem is my brother David's baby, bringing the Rebbe to the world. And you can't underestimate any of those things. But the fact of the matter is that we were brought up with a very warm, beautiful home. We lack nothing, and there's no drawback to be children of Mazkir. If anything, it's a badge of honor that we all wear very proudly and will for the rest of our lives. I would just say, I don't think people know my father on the side of his lumdus. He chazes Chassidus from Bronzeville and Shabbos for many years. The Rebbe was familiar with that. He used to go to different shuls. It used to be a very prominent Jewish area before it really went down before. Now I understand it's really coming back. and he loved doing that and had a very great communication. He was very articulate, able to communicate chassidus to the average person. In the house till today, my father, I don't know that he's Baki B'Shas, and I don't know that he ever made a sim of a Hesia. He has Kviyasitten, Mamish, and Nigel and Chassidus. Look at the Torah. His Svarim are worn out. Even the times he goes out to visit, whatever, his suitcase has maybe changed your clothes, but it's his Svarim. And I don't think, I'm not bragging about him, but they had to be well learned to be in the Rebbe's space and to be up to speed. I know the Rebbe spoke to him about certain Kviyasitten that he took on Nigel and Chassidus. So sometimes when he was home and I was going to bed, I would hear him push it sitting in the kitchen and learning. And until today, he doesn't miss his Kriyasin. It could be very late at night. He didn't go to bed before he did it, or he'd make sure to catch up the next day. Mm-hmm. So these are things that I think that we learn from them very much. And another aspect, I think, the Mazkirim, because I think even as children we can ask them. Forget about driving the Rebbe to and from and going to the Eil, those historic Belt Parkway, police escorts zooming up and back before, on the way to the Eil. More, I think, zooming was back to the Eil on the way back. Escorts was there, but coming back was in a rush. Getting used to the Rebbe seeing shoulder to shoulder, because again, this is not an interview about the Mazkirim themselves and their uniqueness. But the level of bittul, they used to really, when they used to talk about what it meant to be going into the Rebbe's Al-Dama to visit, to talk to the Rebbe about whatever it is, the fact that they had such a level of not anxiety, but trepidation. They were going back into the Rebbe to talk whatever the matter is, whether it was a Geschmack Ezach or maybe not such a Geschmack Ezach, Agnes Nefesh related matter. The level they had, it was no getting used to being in the Rebbe's Al-Amas. And I think we have to remember what it was like. Now we go to the El, you don't go not dressed properly or chewing gum. It's a holiness and a Kedusha that you have to feel there. And even though they did this on a daily basis, Mazkirim did, they all expressed, I think, I speak for my father only really, but it was like never getting used to. But then the connecting just to family and personal, because obviously they're intertwined in many ways. So when I mentioned yesterday quickly that my father was suggested by the Rebbe it was time to think about chasana, and mentioned, but Moshe Gazinis Tzat Shvester suggested her name as a suitable bride, which of course is what happened. The Rebbe was Masada Kedushin by their wedding. There's a historic photo of the Rebbe sitting under the chuppah. It's pouring rain, and you can see the water dripping off the hat to the siddur, and then obviously to the ground. And the Rebbe didn't flinch. And all the brachas that were associated when you get married to have B'asem B'Yisrael, Binyan Adiyad. We are the payers of his brachas for sure, and I hope we are blessing, and only, I'm sure we are in many ways. He had a regular, his birthday is Tezvav Kislev. Then we gave him many instructions about his birthday, about going to Chevek Kedusha is also, Tezvav is Chevek Kedusha is a fast day, Chevek Kedusha and Chabad, about going together with Chevek Kedusha and whatever, participating. Heros that went to him specifically about his birthday. But there's this famous story that many people know, is that when he took the Rebbe home one day, and he turned to the Rebbe who started the conversation, about whether or not his family had prepared a birthday cake for him. And he didn't expect a question like that from the Rebbe, and he said he didn't know. So he came home and he asked my mother, that I wanted to know if there was a cake, whether there was or there wasn't, I don't know. Certainly there was going to be a cake, a birthday cake, but then they followed up the next day to ask for to get the birthday cake. It wasn't a stam Gleich Betel. He wanted to know if there was a cake, as is minig in Medina, to have a birthday cake when it comes to celebrating birthdays. And of course, the Rebbe had great sichos and talked extensively about the uniqueness of celebrating Yom Haledes in a proper Chassidish way.
Levi, one second. I want to ask you a question. I want to go back to the driving the Rebbe. Was it a time, every time that he shared with the Rebbe things that were relevant to, Hafatzas HaMayanos, to outreach, the community, the Kav, this particular area in which he emphasized and was appointed by the Rebbe to do, which is PR. Did he take that time? This is my question. Rabbi Groner and Yeshver and Rabbi Klein, they were in the America's office there 24/7, whatever. Your father had an office in 784. So
the library, they've been the library for many, many years.
Yeah, the library in that 7. I know. So my question is, you know, would it be fair to say he wasn't as much in the physical office of the mosquitoes as they were, right?
Right,
So, right.
right.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
did he like take the opportunity when he drove the Rebbe to discuss communal things every time? Did he wait for the Rebbe to initiate? You happen to know?
I can't speak for him because I don't know. Again, on the way to
Okay.
the aisle is much more serious. He had a typewriter there, a good old-fashioned typewriter. He sat there and typed things that I've asked him to prepare.
Where
He was
where
just
where did he have a
he,
typewriter? Where?
in his car, the back seat of his car. He brought a typewriter with him. He would type letters, typing
Wait,
with a ribbon.
what
Yeah,
what
Hebrew
what?
typewriter.
Why did he have a typewriter in the
He was
car?
working. He was working. He was outside waiting because Rebbe was there for many hours, and he was doing work. There are shluchim that called him to. Later on, there was a phone in the car. Things that has been given into the Rebbe Tzetlach. That's again
Uh-huh.
him and the Rebbe. We can. That's totally. And again, I cannot speak for him. But yeah, I mean, his access to the Rebbe was fully because he was a Mazkir, and if it was pressing, it was an issue with Karnheitz, it was an issue with Gesund, it was an issue a shluchim, the urgent message from shluchim. Many shluchim tell you they reached out to Yudel, and Yudel gave out to the Rebbe, and when he picked up in the morning, and then sometimes they had a place to walk. And then later he picked them up. It changed off between him and my shrer, of course,
When, when
different
when when
schedule.
when he walked, he didn't walk himself. He had one of the mosquitoes with him.
I don't know. There were always bachrim there, but
Yeah, or
even
Bachram.
then, people would approach the Rebbe pretty freely when they saw him, whether it was right or not. A famous story with the guy, but sometimes my skin will say that this wasn't the proper time or place. Let the Rebbe have his space. But no, I mean, the oil he was working. I spent many hours at the oil, and of course, later as it got later in the day, he stood there waiting for the Rebbe to complete, to finish up. The Rebbe brought the tzedlach and tore it up and left it there. But that's again, I don't want to speak for him. I don't know. I don't want to misspeak for sure. Wouldn't be. It's be out of my.
But
Uh,
you said earlier, at least the way I heard it, that there were times the Rebbe's upset sein Herz. The Rebbe, like there were things that were bothering him, and he shared it with your father. Is that my understanding? What you alluded to?
Well, the most famous ones are seeing the Rebbe 1304 in the car, and the car was shaking up and back. And during the case, those were you could
Uh,
see the car is the Rebbe's motionless. That was deeply. The trial was a book for its no pun intended. Was history books for itself, on which was some of it was bitter. But yeah, no, he definitely had those conversations. I think as needed. I don't think he would ever bother the Rebbe for anything if he didn't feel necessary. And the way back, almost always the Rebbe was finishing Minor Lashon or Rambam, or Fridays you'd say Pesukah de Zimra. I mean Pesach Leo. The Rebbe was always occupied, and sometimes maybe even close his eyes for a few minutes if he can handle the Belt Parkway speed.
yeah,
Trust my
there's a
father. He had to
picture.
trust my
There's a
father.
picture. There's a
He
picture
has
of the
to
Rebbe
trust my
closing
father
his eyes.
because my father was driving. Of course. Yeah, but then again, you're talking about more the personal things within the family. So on the Yom Haledes, he specifically asked about Sugiyat, the birthday cake, and of course, every year, all of us on a birthday cake make sure to have a mazonos, a cake to celebrate our birthday. It's go say l'chaim and chazer pesach Shabbat. I'm not remembering all of them. It's not Negeya, but I was born Chafov Menachemov. And my letter for my bris and my letter for Rabbi Shenish, the Rebbe adds in his own hand writings. You can see it. It's still fresh blue ink like it was yesterday, and it's been a few years. By my chasana, which is interesting, I was married Yuzayin Sivan Memvav, and now the Rebbe and my father-in-law are both busy with the wedding, and there were times where the Rebbe asked them not to be busy and worry about him coming or going, whatever, and not to be involved and worry about him. He'll figure out his way. But in this case, it was after Ma'ariv. It was late already because Ma'ariv it's Sivan, so it's later in the day. One second, would it be after Ma'ariv? Could have been earlier than Ma'ariv because we didn't get Ma'ariv till after 9.
Right.
And I think it was Noach Dir was there after. Rebbe was going back to his room. I don't know if it was Mincha Ma'ariv because it would already be late. We had a very late chuppah. We had a massive wedding. It was during the trial. It was during waiting for the trial, Hey Tavis verdict. So the lawyers were there. We had 1,200 people at a wedding. Jewish center used to be the Jewish center. It was up and down, men upstairs, women downstairs. Of course, it didn't have the large expansion. So we had the men were all upstairs, it was packed. At the bottom, I mean, Yudel Krinsky and B'yam are making a chasana. Who's not on the list? Who's not on the list? You know, so it was a packed wedding. We had the lawyers on our shoulders. It was nice. Anyway, so that time, I think it was Nechtia that came in. Otherwise, Nechtia passed away, you know,
Who?
a few years ago, right? Nechtia.
Nechtia passed away. Yes, he passed away.
Yeah, sadly, very tragically.
Yeah.
So he stopped, and the Rebbe spoke to him for a long time. The Violet, we already went to the hall. I think my parents got to the hall. This was 10:30, 11:15. It was very long because someone did take the Rebbe home. And I think he says the Rebbe to gave him brachas like he couldn't imagine. At my wedding itself, my father spoke, as he spoke, he was high. He was Chaim. He was giving us brachas. It was a moment to remember. So, these are personal things in which it's family and Mazkir as it comes together. I think my brother Shmaya also had a bris when Shazar was there, another. I think the bris was midnight or something, because Shazar was by the Rebbe. I have to remember the year and time. Brother Shmaya would remember. Shazar visited Rebbe and Adar, had to be an Adar, right?
Yeah, he came. Shazar came, put it.
So his bris was scheduled further on down, but the bris waited till they were done with the Yechidus. So there are many of these things. No regrets. Chas v'shalom, we feel very blessed in every way. The Rebbe was always there for the cloud. The Rebbe was there for the mishpachas, looked after this mishpachas. My mother was very blessed to have such a wonderful husband, and she respected everything he did and does till today. And I'll just finish. There was a personal thing that we had with, actually, when we went, I mentioned yesterday, before we got married, we went to the Rebbetzin. I think it was by the invitation of my father-in-law, because again, he had yachts with her, so that's very well. That we should come see her. She did do that, by the way, ask closer families with the Chassan and Kala would come. The Eunuchs and the Luz and the Sternbergs, I think they all had that unique opportunity. My brother is married to Garelik. She felt connected to them, these closer relationships she had pushed over the years with these families.
Your sister.
We met with her.
Your sister's married to Garelik.
No, separately. That's a separate. No, it's Krinsky, Garelik, and Klein are intermarried.
Right. Okay.
And my brother David is married to Garelik.
Yes.
So they had also an opportunity to go to the Rebbetzin. And I never asked them, but she gave us a personal $100 bill for the Chassan and Kala to use from her own bank purse, which I have till today. Many years later, my Shrez Yertzeit is Yitzchak Sivan. It's actually coming up this year, 10 years, if you can believe it. It doesn't feel like it. Gave me $100 that the Rebbe gave him on the day of our wedding. I guess it was a Shativus and a Simcha. So we actually have two $100 bills from the Rebbe Rebbetzin that we have in our possession. Mm-hmm. So, to ever think we're fortunate beyond unfortunate, I'm not trying to gloat or be a big shot about it, but you suggested this interview. I didn't want to do this, and I'm not sure if anybody's really interested. But you're talking about the Rebbe taking care of.
In less than 24 hours, we have about 450 hits. So people are watching.
Okay, I don't care, and it doesn't mean anything. I'm not the one that usually talks like this. You nudged me a few days, so let's get it done. But really, the connection was the Rebbe's relationship with the Mazkirim and their families, and this is something he really, like everybody, he looked after and cared for. He took a deep interest in it, like he did in every Yid. And I don't want to say special that the Rebbe had any more love or caring for that. So we have these very special $100 bills. If you remember, you can ask some families. The Rebbetzin used to send out Western Union telegrams for special occasions. I don't know if it was about the bar mitzvahs or weddings, maybe. Again, I'm not sure if it was other occasions. Mazel Tov, Mustia Schneerson. That's what we have. We got a few of those as well, but that's all it was. So in this case, she gave actual money. So that's very special to us. But I just want to finish off that it's 38 years ago, myself, my wife, wrote a letter like people do to them, but a particular personal need. It was around Nav Chodesh Tivin, about a bracha for whatever, and it took a day. We got to answer. Kabbalah Satera B'Simcha Pnimius V'Yivasru Toiv. I guess it's a condition. You'll be makabel the Torah B'Simcha B'Pnimius, which is not just being happy, in emes away Pnimius. V'Yivasru Toiv is a good. And Baruch Hashem, that situation that we sent in was not only Toiv, it was Toiv Moed. So that's not a Mazkir question. That's the Rebbe's love for every Yid. That's the bracha we give all our viewers. We should be Mekabel Torah B'Simcha Pnimis. And
I want to ask a few things, Levi. We have a few more minutes, and I'll let you know when we're finished. But my question, what happened? Oh, so
I see you.
yeah, my question is like this. Did you know your Zayda Rabbi Kasimitz's father? He passed away. Oh, the Tomim will learn to Lubavitch, I think, right?
Right. Velvel Kazinitz.
Yeah,
My mother's father?
Did you know? Yeah, your mother's father. Did you know him?
Yes, sure. He's the one that did homework with me.
What was he, a sheikhet? What was his?
It was a sheikhet. I think the Rebbe said when Velvel Schritte at the Essen. Could be the Friedrich said that. You know, Schritte from a sheikhet.
Right.
Yeah, they lived on Lefferts and they lived on Montgomery, and then they eventually moved downstairs to our house. And he had the Riches Yamim. They both did. Very, very fine people. I mean, he sat right behind the Rebbe. You see all the videos. You see him right on the front left, Velvel.
Right.
Velvel Kazinitz. That's my mother only has one sibling, Mesha Aaron Kazinitz. My brother was a very chashuv Rebbe in Livingston, New Jersey. That's our only cousins from the Kazinitz side. We're very close still today.
Right. There wasn't. We didn't know much as Bocherim about him because he wasn't around. He was out in New Jersey, but we knew that he's, the
from the first Rabbanim that went out that had a Stella, not an official shlichus, but of course the Rebbe. But we're doing. I can't say what we're doing in New Hampshire, but what he did in New Hampshire in Livingston those days was revolutionary. Today, look at Livingston, New Jersey. Like a lot of shluchim in the early years. Look at Lipscomb Bell Harbor. I mean, what they did was they broke the ice. They really.
I want to ask another thing.
It's incredible to see the potatoes that are grown from their work.
Right. I want to.
Okay,
but I want to ask something else. What you think. I want to hear what you think. What we're having now is we've had, shluchim that are passing on. They're older. And we have replacements. Do you think the new generation of shluchim, the new generation of chassidim, do you think that they have the same fire that you and people from our generation, because we still were 70s, the Rebbe, the 80s. What's your thought on this?
I think the future for Lubavitch is very, very bright. You can't imagine how many people call me. There's a shetach. It's called Nashua, which is Nashua, Bedford. I want to go out there. I don't need support. There's the demographic. There's looks like there's 100 families there. There's a brand. There's a fire. I'm impressed with them. Forget about us. We were Techanyonim. They're doing this post Gimel.
Right.
Very strong. The passion is strong. The desire is there. The ava is there. The love for the Rebbe is greater today than you can imagine, in my opinion. And I see it. Bachim come through. It's incredible. It's a testament to the Rebbe's leadership, to the Nesias of the Rebbe that continues to burn bright and strong. And until the Mashiach comes, I don't see anybody stopping. I think it's impressive to see. It's ultimately a testament to the Rebbe and his guidance and his leadership and the fire that he lit. I told you yesterday, I can't believe I was born in 62. We were post-Holocaust. Post-Holocaust by 10, 15 years. I mean, how is that possible? To look at a generation that's not interested, forget about Yiddishkeit, God, Torah, mitzvahs, take it and, do whatever you want. Don't talk to me. Can't take away credit from those people that planted those seeds, of course, the Rebbe, in that Kufa. On that time, and to see now and go back and look, to see what's going on, the revolution is going on, greatest testimony to the Rebbe's greatness. And I tell this to my kehillah all the time. This is not the Rebbe we have the same yechidus with, and it's not the same Rebbe we write letters to, today or whatever. Of course, it's on a whole different level. But his greatness is shining now more than ever before, and that's exactly what he wants. And to never be content, just push weiter. And it's our job to keep that fire burning. That's no small task.
So, what do you do when you get lonely in New Hampshire?
No, but I shouldn't be getting lonely because there's so much work to do. Again, it's an interview for another time. But really,
Shouldn't and couldn't is not real life. We all get lonely at times.
yeah. But I have a big family. We're involved with a lot of people. As soon as we get off there, I have a Zoom call with some people to talk about Mashiach and Geula. They're having issues. They're trying to give me. I have to find to explain to them that they like Yiddishkeit and they observe Torah and they learn the Rebbe's Torah, but they're struggling with this idea of who is Mashiach and when Mashiach, whatever it is. There's really another time. I had 2 funerals last week from families I would never expect have reached out to me. And there's an influence on that. When they call you, it means that you become their Maradasa, you're their rabbi, they're people that years ago wouldn't step foot in a Chabad or come to us. I just got off the phone 15 minutes ago with a Yid. He would tell me, Rabbi, I want you to know something. He had a situation, he was almost passed away. He did pass away during COVID in 2020, and his wife called me to come and visit him. And I went there, and I was surprised they let me in because he was very high level of, he was on a ventilator. And I went there like a shliach. I even, somebody put him on tefillin. He wasn't conscious. He wasn't able to put it on. I know that he can hear me, and we said tefillin. Today, Baruch Hashem, he's doing better. So he sent me a note. He called me and asked him to put it in writing. I want you to know that us Jews, my Reform friends have a lot of guilt. I said, guilt? What do you mean? I know what you mean. Guilt or guilt? No, guilt. Because we're not doing the stuff that Hashem really wants us to do. But you guys are, and you are. I don't know if you can make up for us because you're you. But we really feel that we have to be better Jews. I said, Scott, please do me a favor. He says, what? I said, please put that in writing and send me a note, He's a fine Yid who lost his way. Unfortunately, that's the matzah, especially in America, the world we live in. Intermarriage, assimilation. There's fires burning all over the place. So if I'm bored, shame on me.
I didn't say bored, lonely. There's a difference.
Yeah. Well, no, Baruch Hashem, I love where we live. I love our community. We get 4 seasons in New Hampshire. Now we start with the Chassidish Yidden coming up to New Hampshire. Wow. I don't want to say Lashon Hara, but that's another form of shlichus. We organize minyanim that are up in Lincoln for hundreds of Yidden. I spoiled them. 10 Sifrei Torah and 10 minyanim on Shabbos. You have to speak a Yiddish and a Polish and an English and a Yiddish and a Shivisha. And there's the Chazan and what time are we starting, which is manim are we using, and when there's Milchamativ. I don't enjoy that part of my shlichus as much. Certainly, I didn't expect it to come my way. It fell on my lap 4 or 5 years ago. But the Kiddush Lubavitch, the beautiful ideas when the Rav, I hire someone to speak. I live an hour and a half north, is incredibly worth it. I mean, just to know that we're meeting the needs of these Yidden, the Karev Zayin the Nent and the Torah Yid, nicht nur the Freie. To bring them closer, I've worked from Rebbe. The compliments we get there and the feedback is incredible. And this is all part of my shlichus. I didn't sign up for one particular job description. And whoever comes through our borders, whoever's calling, with whatever the needs are of, it's a hospital, it's a preschool, do you want a ventilator? We got to love what we do, and we very much do, and we feel like we're the most fortunate people in the world. We really say Asherenu Matei Chalkeinu B'Shma.
Okay, so listen, we're going to end now. And I want to thank you very much for the first 2 and now this 3rd time. And maybe Oit Chazar Lamoid will talk more about.
I don't know. Don't count on it. But I'll tell you, any negative feedback that I'll likely get, I'll forward to you as well. So you know.
You're not going to get it.
Because this is not really my forte.
I know. And I thank you very much. And
you're a reporter. You report
because you were agreeable. Other Maskirim's kids, maybe son-in-laws, whatever, will join. So you did me a big favor. I really appreciate it.
You told me they agreed. I didn't realize they didn't agree.
Yeah,
I thought they did agree.
Some agreed. Some still didn't agree. But this will. It's very helpful. I thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen,
we can inspire another Yid. It's well worth it.
Like the Rebbe told you, and then bigger atzlocha, and you'll have Yiddish Shenachas from the entire family, and only good things. And your father will live to see Mashiach because of Mamish. He should be gesund, stark.
He's got the keys to the caddy. Caddy's been done, and the Rebbe said with them and car foreign. Remember that new car, old car? What happened over there?
Yeah.
My father has to be here. My father has the keys. What do you think he's going to drive? What do you think? Of course, he's ready to go. The caddy. I think it even has gas. It's ready to go.
Okay, soon as time
is.
Bye bye. Take care.
Bye bye.